Right, so here I'm going to do all of the challenges in number one because they're not very difficult and I thought I'd just do them quite quickly as one. So the first one in here, in this challenge, I want you to create code to print out a Christmas tree in hashes as shown here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. I'm going to make sure I remember that. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. And so we go into Python, and this one's quite simple. You're just going to do the print command. It may not be exactly the tree that I did before, but we'll see how it goes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to put hash there and hash there. Then I think it's 5 hashes, or is it 4? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. I think I'm going to need to move this over a bit. I'm going to do this a lot quicker now because you get the gist. This is quite an easy one. And then it's something like that. If it's not that, it's something very similar. So there's that one done. And I can run it. I'm going to have to save it as test 5 or whatever. And there you go. You see my very wonky Christmas tree there. So it should be one less there. Okay, there we go. Maybe one more hash to make it look better. But you get the gist. That is the Christmas tree. Right, so the next challenge on the website, if we bring it over, is to print this text backwards. So I'm going to go through a few Python printing commands with you. So I've copied that text and I've allocated to a variable called text. And then to print something in reverse, you do : -1. Now this looks really confusing, right? So I'm going to explain it to you. I'll put the hash there. So when you're printing any string or doing any string, because you can put text equals text and then you can, you remove some of it. But basically you put the name of the string, square brackets, and then you've got 3 parameters. You've got the start, you've got the end, and you've got, I don't know how to move, I suppose. That's a weird way of putting it. So here's an example of what I mean. So if I were to print, let's do a different, I'm going to leave that there, but let's do a different one. Let's do T equals hello, exclamation mark. Let's say I want to print the first 3 letters of this. So I go print T, square bracket, the start is 0. The end, but actually you put 1 more than the end. So if I want it to end here, which would be 2, 0, 1, 2, you put 3 because it doesn't do the character here. It's a bit weird that, but there we go. So it's 3 because that's the one we want it to stop before, right? Then you put colon, and how do you want it to move? We want it to move 1 character at a time. If I did 2, it would move 2 characters at a time. Okay? So I put clear bracket close, and you run it, and you'll see that it writes HEL. Now, just so you know, you might see it without that 3rd parameter. If you don't put anything in, like's done here, it will just take the defaults, like whatever the standard is. So here it will still, because the default is always to move across by 1. So all we're doing here is changing that we want it to go backwards. We want the same, but backwards. So there you go. Okay. So if I want to go do that backwards, okay, I start on character 3. I don't need to put an end character in because if I leave it, if you're going backwards, right, this will be the end and this will be the front. If you're going forwards and you don't write anything, this will be the front, this will be the end. So I just put -1 there, and now I'm going to print that backwards. But obviously here in this case, sorry, it's a start 1 now, so that should be 2 because the start 1 doesn't have the +1 thing. So there you go. So what you've got to try and remember is if you don't put something in with these, so if I just did print T : close, that's just like printing normally. Okay? So I've got the start, the end, and the step. I can replace any of those. I could replace the end, and then the start would be the start. The end would be changed. So if I just want to do this, I know before I did 0, but there was actually no need. I could have left it blank. So if I put 4, this is going to print 0, 1, 2, 3, and it won't print that. So this will print hell. There you go. If I don't put that, but I put -1, what it understands is, because you need to put the start and the end. Now, I know you're thinking, but the start's at the start and the end's at the end. How can it go backwards? When you put a negative number in, it knows that the start is now the end and the end is now the start. It's smart. So it doesn't, you don't need to change anything. There you go. So that will reverse it. So that's why that reverses it. If I wanted, for example, quite a common exam question, the last 3 characters of a string, then what you would need to do is find the length of the string. Say you just wanted the last 3 characters, L, but in order, L, O, thingy. So I need to know the start position. So we know the length of it, so we can get the length of T will give us how many letters are in it. So if I do L equals the length of T. So now I know that's going to give me 6. Okay, and I want to start on position 5 because it's the 5th character along. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the start position would be L, but I want to get this position here. So if this is 6 off of it, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So I need to do L minus 3 because this actually is 0, 1, 2, 3. So you want the length minus 3. Okay, then we want it to end. Actually, I think let's do minus 4, but I'll check it in a sec. Then to end at the length, right? And then we want it to print normally. That might do the last, no, yeah, it did do the last 3. There we go. So that's giving me the last 3 characters. I get the length of it, then I start at the length minus 3, I end at the length. I mean, actually, like I said before, I could have just done that. I didn't need to do anything because it will always default at the end. So I just change the start, leave the end blank. And I wonder if I just write that, it will do it. I don't know, you never tried that. No, it doesn't. Oh, that just does the actual character, of course. Yeah, that says do till the end. Yeah, there we go. So there's some string functions for you in this challenge, and then I'll go on to the next one. Right, so let's look at the last challenge, which is, in this challenge, I wanted to create a variable called speed, distance and time. Distance needs to be set to 7.7, time to 5, and then calculate the speed and then write it out. So I'm going to actually leave this up because I'll forget all those numbers over and over again. So I'm going to put it there, go here. So I need to make 3 variables, speed, distance, time. But I've just realised that I need to make speed last because obviously I need to have distance and time. So I set distance to 7.7, which is a float. I need to set time to 5. And speed equals distance divided by time. And then I'm just going to print... I'm going to copy and paste this because I'm so lazy. With a distance of... Now, I have got here... let's shrink the font slightly so you can see it a bit easier. 16 apply. I didn't really do that much. With a distance of 7.7. So I could use that variable there. And because this is such an easy task, I'm going to. So I could do comma distance. I'm doing a terrible job there. Right. And a time taken of and speed is, and then I've got to put speed. So I'm just going to shrink that even more so it's actually on the screen. Actually, you know what I'll do is I'll be even less done, and that should make this wider. There you go, that makes more sense. So with a distance of distance meters and a time taken of time seconds, the speed is speed ms. Now I need to put a quote at the end and a bracket to complete that, and then run it, and it should say the answer there. And I'll just bring that over so you can see it. The only slight problem here, and this is only really a Python thing, it doesn't really matter for the exam, but these commas always put a space, and I don't want a space there or there. So what I have to do is add it instead. So I've got to put the space back in there. But I have to turn this into a string because I can't add a number to a string. So I have to put the space back, add the string like that, and now I won't get the gap. But don't worry too much about that because that's not a problem in the exam. If I wanted to have nothing there as well, I'd have to do the same at the end, but you get the gist, it's the same thing. So I just realised here is I'm adding them. So what I'm basically doing is making one long string like that, and I'm adding the variable inside it. So there you go. So that's that one. That's the challenge 1 complete.